There may be types of files that you and I just don't want to allow through the firewall. And to implement that control, what we can do is we can set up a file blocking profile and then simply attach that to one of our security policy rules. So in this nugget, I'd like to walk you through doing exactly that. To implement file blocking on the Palo Alto firewall, it's really simple. We have two basic steps. Number one, we're going to create a profile that has the details in it regarding the types of files that we don't want forwarded, and also the types of applications to look for those files in. And then the second step is to go ahead and apply that profile as part of one of our security rules. And then of course we'd commit it and verify that it works. For our example, let's set up a security policy that is going to include a file blocking profile that doesn't allow PDF files to be sent or received through the firewall. To do that, we're first of all going to create our security profile for file blocking. And to do that, we're going to go to the Objects tab, and then on the left, we're going to go down under Security Profiles, and we're going to go down to File Blocking. And with file blocking highlighted, we'll click on Add to create a new file blocking profile. And let's call this No PDFs for You, and we'll create a new entry in this profile, and we'll simply call it No PDFs. And then we can get granular about the applications where we want to search for that, or we can say any. And for the file types, we don't want to see any. We're going to say just PDFs. So we'll click on the any for file types, and instead of using any, we'll click on Add, and we'll type in PDF, and we'll select PDF. And for the direction, we'll leave it as both. And for the action, let's go ahead and instead of saying alert, which would generate an alert for our logs, let's go ahead and say block. So with block selected, let's go ahead and click on OK. So now that we have this new file blocking profile, we're now going to apply it. So to apply it to one of our security policy rules, we'll click on Policies, and then on the left-hand side, make sure that Security is selected. And let's apply this to rule number 9, which is our users going to internet rule. We'll go up to the Actions tab, and then here on the profile setting, we'll use the drop-down next to file blocking, and we will select the file blocking profile we created just a few moments ago, called No PDFs for You. And with that in place, we'll click on OK, and then we'll click on Commit, and we'll confirm our commit. Now to test this, let's bring up Bob's computer, and from Bob's computer, let's go try to download a PDF. So we'll open up a browser, and I'm just going to go to cisco.com real quick, because I know I can get tens of thousands of PDFs there. And we have 3 design guides here. I'm going to grab this top one, and it's not letting us because the Palo Alto firewall saw that, hey, this is a .pdf, those aren't allowed, and as a result, we have a pop-up to the customer saying, hey, not allowed. And as we go back to the graphical user interface, I just want to point out our commit, it succeeded. However, it also gave us a warning. And it said that the panorama post rule that we pushed is never going to be hit because we have a rule higher in our configuration that effectively is doing the same thing. And this is great to know, because if we have a rule that's being pushed and it's never ever going to be hit because of a prior rule, it's nice to be aware of that. So we'll go ahead and click on Close there. What's also really cool is we could put a check in this checkbox called Highlight Unused Rules. And that's going to show us any rules that have not been hit since this firewall was brought up. And because I reboot this firewall fairly frequently, as of right now, Rule 4 and Rule 5 and Rule 8 and also Rule 11 that came from Panorama have not been hit since this firewall has been running. So that little check mark in that box is very useful to find out what rules are, for example, never being hit. If a firewall has been up for like a week or a month or 2 years, and it has some rules that have never been hit, it may be time to actually revisit some of those rules. And also, if we go up here to Monitor now, using the Monitor tab, and we go down under Logs to Data Filtering, check this out. If we click on the little magnifying glass next to this entry, it's going to show us the details regarding that deny, effectively denying the PDF that was being attempted to come from this IP address, which was one of Cisco's servers, back to Bob at 10.1.1.25. And that was because of the file blocking profile associated with this rule called users going to internet. In this nugget, we've set up, configured, and verified a file blocking profile that was attached as part of a security policy rule. I'm glad you joined me for this nugget. I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.